same places that you did last time.
Last cycle?
Last cycle.
Mamish. You caught on to my really precise planning. It's I'm sure there's a deeper message. All right, so we'll say good morning. Let's begin. So we're picking up still in Parak Yud Gimel on the bottom of page Kuf Mem Vav. Just remember again, we're speaking in the Niddah of Prishus and focusing on this din of Prishus, which teaches us ultimately again that although there are things that are permitted and things that are prohibited, a person recognizes that their descent into sin does not really begin with sinful behavior. Instead, it often begins with an abuse of the permitted. And then only in the aftermath of the abuse of the permitted does a person come into the realm of the prohibited. So Prishus says, let me go ahead and back up my personal boundaries, my gidarim, my buffer zones, into the realm of the permitted, prohibiting things that are technically speaking permitted, in order to go ahead and create for myself a buffer between that which is permitted and that which is prohibited. So the Ramchal goes on, Hatil v'hadibur. So for example, he says, going at Til means spaziering, means traveling around. Right? Darchi shishua bidur v'hadibur. And speech. So first of all, Til, he also, if you look in footnote 62, he says, Darchi shishua ubidur. V'lav dafchi yitzia halicha l'tzarech hana. So it says, so we often assume that Til means traveling. Til also just means conversing, speech. Now when it comes to talking in general, if you're not speaking Lashon Hara, or you're not going ahead and using any kind of nivel pen, appropriate language, it's not aser. But Vadai din Torah muterhu. Ultimately, again, speech, permitted speech is permitted. Good. Kuf mem zayin, amnam, kama bittul Torah nimshach mimeno. How much wasted time is there from speech, right? How much bittul Torah is there from people just speaking unnecessary words? Kama min halashon hara, kama min ashkarim, kama min aleitzanas. How much lashon hara? How many lies? How much leitzanas, right? Just scoffing. General speech of a jocular nature. Va'omer berov dvarim lo yachtal pesh. Shlomo Melech says, with the more you speak, right, the more comes your inability to avoid sin. So this, Rabbi said, the truth is, this one doesn't really need too much explanation, because all of us have been in situations where we have begun talking in very innocuous, appropriate ways, and yet very quickly conversations take a dramatic turn into that which is prohibited and seriously problematic. So again, we see this idea that although technically speaking, conversing and speech is totally fine, yet the person has to be a parush and try to draw those lines a little bit closer in order to avoid any potentially problematic speech. Klal Dover says Ramchal. Here's the klal. Kevan shekol inyane olam eina elam sakanas atzumos. This goes back to the beginning of Mesilas Yesharim, where the Ramchal wrote, life is a war, right? Life is a battle. Every day of life is a battle. This is what he writes over here. Kevan shekol inyane olam eina elam sakanas atzumos. So says, this is a very important phrase. Everything in the world is a sakana. Right? Is a danger. Now, both say this doesn't mean that everything in the world, chas v'shalom, is bad. Right? There are a lot of things. Fire is also dangerous. That doesn't make fire bad. Right? Medication could also be dangerous. It doesn't make medication bad. So his idea over here is everything in this world represents a potential sakana. Both say, by the way, I want to point out, just to understand, this refers to matters of ruchnius as well, right? Ruchnius could also be a sakana. How could ruchnius be a sakana? When a person sometimes becomes so involved in their ruchnius that they forget about the needs of others. That's also a sakana, right? That's a danger. Everything in this world is a sakana. Therefore, eich lo yeshubach mi sheyirtze limalit mehem. So we'll say, because everything is a sakana, so successful living requires me to figure out how to draw my boundaries, what to distance myself from, and what to run away from, sometimes in totality. Zeu inyan prishus hatov. And Rabbi say this is the essence of good prishus. Shalo yikach min ha'olam b'shum shimush shum mishtamish mimenu ela mashu muchrach bo mipnei hatzorech asher lo b'tiv o elav. Rabbi say this is a profound statement. What's prishus hatov? What's good prishus? Take from this world what you need, and ultimately, and again, in accordance with your needs. Or as I will say, what precious really represents is abstaining from overindulgence. Take what you need, enjoy what you need, be happy, be normal, be well adjusted, but don't overindulge. Because the moment that there's overindulgence is the moment ultimately, again, that the sakana sets in. It's a very profound statement. This is what Rabbi meant when he said before, remember again, I will say Rabbi, right? Rabbi, when he was passing away, outstretched his fingers and said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are my witness that I did not enjoy from this world, even with my pinky. So the Gemara says, Im heyos nas Yisrael, v'shulchano shulchan melachim, behechrach li karnis yaso. We'll say, remember again, let's point something out. Rabbi was the Nasi, right? Rabbi was the head of Klal Yisrael. And I will say, you understand that the way it works in Jewish leadership, right, both for the king as well as the Kohen Gadol, they will say part of their office is wealth. Well, this is very important, right? The Nasi can't be a shlump, right? The king can't be wearing rags. They both have to be wealthy and they both have to live lifestyles of wealth for very good reason. Because ultimately, again, this is what earns the respect of their followers and of their peers. Says, so when Rebbe says, I never enjoyed even a little bit from this world, what does it mean? What does that mean? Vipashtos, his table was the table of a king, right? The food that he ate were the delicacies of a king. The clothing that he wore was the finest of a king. So on and so what's the pshat? What's the pshat? He goes on, Ukamamar Zichol Lebracha, Shnei Goyim Bevitnech, like the Medrash writes, or the Pasuk writes, by Rivka Imenu. She was carrying two nations, Zerebi va'Antoninus, Shela Pasuk me al Shulchanam lo Chazeres lo Kishus lo Tznon, lo bimosa chamol bimosa geshamim. V'chiskyo melch Yehuda kimokein. Ushar ha'ma'aran shar zacharti kula mekayim morim. Sheish adam lifrosh mikomashu tanug olami leman lo yipol b'sakanoso. So we'll say what it means ultimately, says the Mechaber, is that each of these individuals, remember he quoted Chizkiyahu also before, right? That even though Chizkiyahu ultimately again had every delicacy on his table, what did Chizkiyahu eat? He had a lot of vegetables, right? And that wasn't because he was on a diet, right? It's because ultimately, again, that's how he created his precious in this world. So I say, the idea over here is not the pshat that Rebbe barred delicacies from his home or barred the finest clothing. It's the idea that he drew his line somewhere within the realm of the permitted in order to avoid chas v'shalom falling into the descent of sin. That's what happened over here. So maybe you'll ask and you'll say, Im kain, Eifo shezed davar mistarichu mukhrach lama page kof memchas lama lo gazru alav chachamim kimo shegazru ala sayagos v'takanos shegazru. So I'll say, listen to this. If that's the case, that precious is so important, then what? This is incredible. Why isn't it legislated? See, I will say, if you notice over here, what's precious? What's precious? Precious is totally voluntary. In other words, if I want to be a parish, I can be a parish. If I don't want to be a parish, I don't say, I don't understand. Anything that's so, Shabbos is also, if you want Shabbos, you could have Shabbos, you don't want Shabbos. Shabbos is a halacha. You have to keep Shabbos. You have to keep kashrus. You have to keep Shabbos HaMishpacha. What's the pshat? Here you're telling me, we're studying a whole chapter speaking about how profound and how important precious is. So why don't Chazal legislate, right? Build precious into the construct of halacha and make it mandatory instead of optional. So look what he writes. This is profound. The answer is very simple. He will say very simple. Chazal only make gzeros that the majority of the populace are capable of upholding. So listen to this profound statement. Ve'ein rov hatzibor lios chasidim, aval dai lahem sheyihiyu tzadikim. They both say this goes back to the beginning of the chapter. If you remember again, the Ramchal made a fundamental distinction between a tzaddik and a chassid. Right? A tzaddik is a person who fulfills all that God has commanded. Right? Whatever the obligation is, that's a tzaddik. The chassid goes lifnim mishuras hadin, goes above and beyond that which is expected to perform more. Chazal said, you can't legislate chassidus. You can't legislate a person to be a chassid. You can't command a person to be a chassid. I could command a person to be a tzaddik, which is actually, whoever heard of such a thing like this, right? But yeah, because we're just using different definitions. A tzaddik is someone who upholds the words of the Torah. Okay, each of us has an obligation to be a tzaddik. Good. But to be a chassid is a level above, and that you have to choose. That Chazal can't legislate. Why? Because I will say the truth is, not everybody is capable of being a chassid. Everybody is capable of it. It's an additional level. So for Chazal to legislate that everybody has to be a chassid is a gzeira she'ein rov hatzibur yichol la'amod bo. Is a decree that the majority of the population cannot uphold. And therefore, again, halacha l'maisa, they did not legislate prishus. Aval dai lahem sheyiu tzadikim. All right, so we'll stop over here for today. We're going to pick up with this in Mirz Hashem tomorrow. But this is an incredibly profound idea. That here HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs us to be tzaddikim. Ideally, would love for us to be chassidim as well. But lamaisi, you can't legislate chassidus, right? You can't legislate chassidus. Therefore, again, that's why Chazal could not go ahead and legislate prishus. But ultimately, again, prishus is something that Chazal wants us to aspire to. But ultimately, again, do not make it part of the legal construct of halacha. We'll continue Mirz Hashem on this theme tomorrow. All right. All right, you both say good morning. Today's daf is Nun Daled. We are picking up at the Mishnah, Nun Gimel Amud Beis. Our shir this morning is dedicated by Moshe and Dvorah Wordesheim, as their full shlim for Avram Yeshaya Gershon ben Dvorah Chana. Surgery should be successful, and Mirz Hashem should have a complete and enduring refuah. We also thank our Talmud Torah sponsors for the month of Kislev, Josh and Becca Friedman, for dedicating Le'ili Nishmas, Josh's father, Yisrael Yehuda ben Rav Chaim Rafael, on the occasion of his first yard site, and Stemi and Malka Esterson, Le'ili Nishmas, their parents, Yitzchok Leib ben Aaron HaKohen, Sarah Rachel bas Baruch Avram, Hinda bas Henech Ephraim. We hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah, the Neshamas will have an aliyah, and the families ein chama. And above say with that, let us begin. Says the Mishnah, Haroeh Yom Yud Aleph Ben Hashmashas. So we'll say, so we're talking about over here again, continued situations of suffix. Remember again, so we started already on this theme yesterday about dealing with different riyos that occur at different times, and therefore by definition create a situation of doubt. So, for example, Aroy Yom Yud Aleph Ben Hashmashas. So, let's remember again, still working on the 7-11 model, right? Ultimately, again, 7 days Niddah. When the 7 days of Niddah end, ultimately, again, the 11 days of Zivus begin. So, Aroy Yom Yud Aleph Ben Hashmashas. So, we'll say what's taking place over here is a woman sees dam at the end of the 11th day, right? Ben Hashmashas. So we'll say, what's the problem over here? Because it's Ben Hashmashas, ultimately, again, is this Dam Ziva or is it Dam Niddah? So what's the halacha? Or Tchila Niddah v'sof Niddah, Tchila Ziva v'sof Ziva. We'll say, the Gemara is going to question what exactly this phraseology means. Because it sounds like what it's saying is, it's a safek. Is it the beginning of her nidos or the end of her nidos? The beginning of her zivos or the end of her zivos? So we're going to see, ultimately, the Gemara is going to challenge just what exactly this means. We'll clarify. Next, similarly, Yomar Bon L'Zach Yom Shmuel L'Nekeva Ben Hashmashas. So we'll say, same idea. Let's say a woman had given birth. So remember again, the duration of Yemei Tuma and Tara is different for a boy and a girl, right? For a boy, 7 days, and then 33 days of Yemei Tara. For a girl, 14 days Yemei Tuma, 66 Yemei Tara. Let's say she's bleeding, at the end of her Yemei Tara, on the 40th day Ben Hashmashas, or for a boy, or on the 80th day Ben Hashmashas on a kid. So let's remember again what happens. If ultimately again she's bleeding within the 40 days or within the 80 days, that's Dam Tohar, right? Yet interestingly enough, if that's at the end of those days, then what? It's potentially Dam Niddah. So again, all of this is occurring Ben Hashmashas. So the Gemara says, what's the halacha? L'kulan hare elu toos. So we'll say, so over here the lashon is also very interesting. Hare elu toos means these are mistaken, but it doesn't mean mistaken. It means rather they have the capacity to make a mistake, i.e., it's a suffix. So we'll say, remember again, this whole discussion is not unique to Hilchos Niddah. This is or I should say, Hilchos Zivos or Hilchos Leida. This is the general discussion when it comes to Bein Hashmashas. What do I do with Bein Hashmashas? What's the status of Bein Hashmashas? Rabbi Yeshua. So Rabbi Yeshua makes an interesting statement. Ad she'atem metaknim es hashotos, bo v'tiknos es hapikos. So Rabbi Yeshua says, so literally the way it sounds like is, before you spend your time focusing on the foolish ones, go ahead and spend your time focusing on the wise ones. So we'll see exactly what Rabbi Yeshua is talking about, a very enigmatic statement. We'll see in the Gemara. To which the Gemara says, Tchilas Niddah v'sof Niddah. So we'll say, so here's the issue. Remember again, the Mishnah began with a case of a woman who sees dam at the end of the 11th day. So remember again, the 11 days are the window for Zivos. So she's seeing that dam bein hashmashos. So we'll say, so we know, what does that mean? It's a suffix. Is that dam ziva or is that dam nida? So we'll say, so remember, but the way the Mishnah said it was tchilas nida v'sof nida. So ask the Gemara, why are you saying tchilas nida v'sof nida? Tchilas nida v'sof zivahi. Remember, when she sees dam at the end of the 11th day bein hashmashos, so we'll say, what's the suffix there? The shaila is that the end of her zivos period, or is that the beginning of her nida period? You're right. Amr of Chisti, you're right. It's just a textual error. Here's how you have to read the Mishnah. Hachi kamar haroa sof yud aleph bein hashmashas. If a woman sees dam at the end of the 11th day bein hashmashas, during the twilight period. So we'll say, by the way, I also wanted to point out that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda from yesterday's daf are also only two of the opinions. There are still other opinions by Bein Hashmashas. So I'm just, again, the Gemara only brought down two of them. I just want to point out that's not the totality of the Bein Hashmashas discussion. Okay, anyway, so the Gemara says, here's how I have to say it. Haroa yom yir aleph ben hashmashas. If a woman sees dam at the end of the 11th day ben hashmashas, they both say, what's the suffix? Tchilas nida v'sof ziva. In reality, that is a suffix. Is that considered to be the beginning of Niddah or the end of Ziva? Ubishvi'i l'Niddah, says again, if she were to see dam at the end of the 7th day of her Nidus, that is also a suffix. What's the suffix? Sof Niddah utchilas Ziva. There the suffix, Rabosa, is it the beginning of her Nidus? Is it the end of her Nidus or the beginning of her Zivus? Good. I'm going to be Yeshua. So Rabosa says, therefore again, the Gemara just simply changes the text of the Mishnah. I'm going to be Yeshua. Let's remember again, Rabbi Yeshua comes along in the Mishnah with a very enigmatic statement and says, before you spend all of your time focusing on the foolish women, focus on the smart women. What does that mean? To which the Gemara says, Hani top of Nundal and Mudalef. Hani shotos ninu. The women described at the beginning of the Mishnah will say, are they foolish women? Toos ninu. We're talking about suffix. We're talking about, again, where a woman sees dam bein hashmashos. Why are you using the lashon of shotos? Right? It's toos. We'll say toos. Again, we normally translate toos as how? Mistaken. But here, remember, what it means is they have the capacity to make a mistake because it is a suffix. So why are you calling it shotos? Call it toos. Ella, Gemara says again, tani toos. Gemara says, change it. It doesn't matter, right? Rabbi Yeshua didn't mean to say shotos. He meant to say toos. So we'll say, we're going to go now through a series of cases. We're going to go through this actually a bit quickly. Let's say you'll see, I looked at this last night. There's the Art Scroll has very good tables for this. So again, Abba said, let me just tell you what we're going to do, and then we're gonna plow through it. Which is, I will say that what we're going to see is the Gemara is going to give a whole bunch of different scenarios where a woman bleeds on and off, on and off, on and off. And if this is her continued cycle, assuming that this is the way she is always going to be, the Gemara is going to tell you which days she is permitted, which days she is prohibited, and which cases cycles are so incredibly problematic that she may be quote-unquote asura to her husband forever. So yeah. Thank you. Right. So we're gonna. So you'll see. Again, I'm not gonna go through all of the daily calculations because we just don't have time for it. But Lamaisa, again, maybe somebody will take the pictures of the. Perfect. Thank you. So there's like I think like 10 of them. So but again, you do one by one. So says the Gemara as follows. Here we go. Disanya Yom Echad Tamiv Yom Echad Tar. So we'll say, let's say she has the following cycle. One day is Tameh, one day is Tar. Now, we'll say, when we say cycle, what we assume is this is the way she is continuously living, right? This goes on and on and on and on. So Yom Echad Tameh, Yom Echad Tar. So ultimately, again, look, and Rashi says it over here. Yom Echad Tameh, Yom Echad Tar, Kol Yameha. So we'll say, so this is her cycle. V'kamayri kisharoa bayom. Okay, so we'll say, so for example, one day she sees dam, one day she doesn't. What's that halacha? Mishameshes shmini ve'leila imo. She has the ability to go ahead and be with her husband on the 8th day, as well as the night following the 8th day. Look at Rashi. Mishameshes shmini liyom shera'a sabo re'iyah rishona. So we'll say the 8th day from which she saw the first re'iyah, she has the ability to be with her husband shari tahorehi, shari b'shvi'i la'erev, Tavla, because remember again, the 7th day at night she has the ability to go to the mikvah. Velotira adchi, and she won't see again until the 9th day. Hilchach mishameshes shmini shanim v'layla v'yom. Therefore, she has the ability to be with her husband the entire 8th day, the night as well as the day. V'layla imo, Rashi says, is layla acharav negitishu, which means the night is not only the night of the 8th day, but it's the night of the 8th day, the day of the 8th day, and the following night as well. Next. B'shemeshes shmini v'leilo imo v'arba'a leilos mitoch shmona asar yom. And Abosa, again, when kind of plotting this out, she has the ability to be with her husband 4 nights out of every 18 days. V'imhaisa roa mi ba'erev. But if ultimately, again, she would see dam at night, ema mishameshes ela shmini bilvad. Abosa, and under those circumstances, she would only be permitted to her husband on the 8th day. Good. Next case. Shnei yamim tmeim u'shnei yamim tehorim. So we'll say next case is, this is her cycle. 2 days she bleeds, 2 days she doesn't. So what's the halacha? Mishamesh. So we'll say, I just also want to point out to you, remember what's happening over here. There's 2 different processes that unfold here. There's Niddah and Zava. So shnei yamim tmeim u'shnei yamim tehorim. 2 days she bleeds, and 2 days she doesn't. So the Gemara says, Mishameshes Shmini, so she has the ability to be with her husband ultimately again on the 8th day, Ushnei Masar, and on the 12th day, Vishisha Asar, the 16th day, Ve'esrim, and the 20th day. I says the Gemara V'tishamish Nami B'shisar, but again, according to the calculations, they both say she should be permitted to her husband on the 19th day as well. Rav Sheshes Zo Someres is actually fascinating. The reason why this is not permitted, Rabbi says, is going to be a sugya we're going to see a little bit later on. Gargiran Disnan Aser. Rabbi says, now look at Rashi for just a moment. This is really very interesting. The Gargiran Disnan Aser. Look at Rashi. First Rashi, V'tishamish b'shisar. It's in the not in the widest lines, but in the intermediate lines. The Kamilan Perak Acharon. So we'll see this again in a couple of days. Yom Echad Asar Li Meziva. Lo ba'ishimar yom kinegdo. So, listen to this interesting case. Let's say a woman bleeds on the 11th day of the zivos period. So remember again, normally what happens if a woman bleeds during her yemei zivos? She's what's called a shomeres yom kineged yom. So if she bleeds one day, that means what? The next day has to be clean. She goes to the mikvah, and that night she is permitted to her husband. What happens if she bleeds on day number 11? So technically speaking, so Rashi said, we're going to see this sugya. Rashi points out it's ayin beis and with beis. So in a little bit under 2 weeks or so. So the Gemara says, so Yom Echad asar limei ziva, lo ba'ishimor yom kinegdo. But let's say if she bleeds on day number 11, she doesn't need to be shomeres yom kineged yom. Why? Because the next day already what? she's out of her zivos period. Vizu lama mishameres yutes b'shel yudches shusov ziva. Now, say in this last case over here in this calculation, so technically speaking, day 19 would technically speaking be the day after Zivos. So therefore, technically speaking, she should be permitted to her husband. What does this show us? Gargiron disnan. Both say, look at Rashi again. Beparak tinokes haroy yom yud aleph v'tavli yom shel achar. So both say, listen to this. If a woman bleeds on day number 11, and therefore we'll say, so what happens? So she goes to the mikveh the day after. Now remember again, the day after day number 11 is what? Yeah, good, day 12. Right, thank you. Right, but for our purpose, we'll say, what is it? It's after the Zivos period. So on a technical level, she could look at Rashi. And let's say she has relations with her husband that day, and ultimately again sees dam again that day. Beisilal omrim hare ze gargiran shalohimtim yom zeh. Or mehach braysa diktani mishameshes yom eser v'lo yom yutas shaminan da'asar lihiyos gargan. So we'll say gargan almost means like a bit hasty or gluttonous. That ideally the couple should wait until that night, until having relations. But technically speaking, they're not in the wrong for being together that day if halach l'maisa shorty went to the mikvah. Because technically speaking, the yemei zivos are already over. But that's what's called the gargaran, right? That's what's called being a bit hasty. A bit hasty. So the fact that in this model, again, we're saying that day number 19 is usher, it's only day number 20, ultimately again, that halacha l'maisa is problematic. Therefore what? Therefore you see that gargaran is usher. Good. Rav Ashi Amar, Nihi de chad asar lo bayishimar, asiri miha bayishimar. So Rav Ashi says, even though the 11th day might not require any kind of shimur, ultimately, again, the 10th day does. So we'll see, if we look at Rashi says over here, Rav Ashi Amar, Li'olam eino asar, so Rav Ashi says the truth is, it's not really because we're worried about the 12th day, which is the 19th day, but rather, again, we're just worried that ultimately, again, if we allow her to be with her husband on this first day post-Zivos, immediately after going to the mikvah, without waiting that day, that could cause her to make mistakes with the actual Yemei Zivos. Okay, good. Shloshi Yamim Tameim, Ushloshi Yom Torah. We'll say next case. 3 days she bleeds, and 3 days she's tahora. So what's the halacha? Mishameshes shnei yamim. So she has the ability to have relations for 2 days. Vishuv ena mishameshes liolam. And ultimately, again, she can never have relations with her husband again. They will say, now understand what this means. This is talking about, again, if this is her constant cycle, right? That this doesn't stop. 3 days on, 3 days off. Look at Rashi. Mishameshes shnei yamim. Achadas arviyud beis. So that would represent the 11th and 12th days. Shashmini utishim yud aleph shebei Niddah hein va'asiri shimarhu lahen v'shuv ena mishameshes liolam she'ela shahari zava b'yud gimel v'yadalad v'tesvav utzricha lispar zanikin. Because we'll see what happens. The problem is in this model on days 13, 14, and 15, she becomes a zava gidola. Zava gidola requires what? Shivanikim, right? 7 clean days. And the problem is based on her cycle, she will never get 7 clean days. So because of that, technically speaking, she becomes prohibited to her husband forever. So we'll say, so just the idea of becoming prohibited to her husband forever just is not like a statement of Chazal answering her. It's a metzius in the way this type of cycle works. Next, Arba Yomim Tameim v'Arba Yom Torim. 4 days. 4 days she bleeds. 4 days she's tahar. What's the halacha? Mishameshes yom echad. She has the ability to be with her husband for 1 day. Rashi says over here, which day is that? That's Shmini. The kula braise kishra berev. So we'll say something that she's seeing at night. So remember again, the 8th day, technically speaking, she would be able to be with her husband. Vishuv ena mishameshes liolam. But ultimately, again, she would never be permitted to be with her husband again. I'll say same idea, because in this model as well, what occurs? She ends up becoming a zava gidola and cannot get shiv nekiyim. That's the challenge. Chamish yomim tamim v'chamisha yomim tahorin. So we'll say ultimately again 5 days that she bleeds, 5 days that she's tahar. What happens? Mishameshes shloshi yomim. She has the ability ultimately to be with her husband for 3 days. But again, same idea. Because of the cycle, she then becomes a Zava Gedola, can never get Shiva Nikiyim, V'shuv Eina Mishameshes the Olam. And therefore, again, never has the ability to be with her husband again. Shisha Yomim Tameim V'shisha Yomim Tahorim. 6 days she bleeds, 6 days she's tahar. What's the halacha? Mishameshes Chamisha Yomim. She'll have the ability to be with her husband for 5 days, but again, Rabbi say same problem. Becomes a Zava Gedola, can't get Shiva Nikiyim, and therefore Asura to her husband forever. Shiva Yamim Tamei V'Shem. Well, so just to understand, by the way, what's happening over here. Remember, this is in response to Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Yoshua said, Mishnah, you're telling me all of the cases of Safek, right? All of these cases where she's having a Re'iyah Bein Hashmashos, and you're telling me it's Bein Hashmashos between Niddah and Zivos, or between Zivos and Niddah, or at the end of Yoledes to Niddah. Rabbi Yeshua says, don't focus on the Safek cases, focus on the Vadai. These are the Vadai cases. So the Gemara is saying, fine, Rabbi Yeshua, you're right, we're going to give you all of the Vadai cases. So Shiv Yom Tmev, Shiv Yom Torah. She bleeds for 7 days, 7 days she's clean. Mishameshes Revia Yamha Mito Chaf Ches Yamim. So we'll say, so remember again, here in this kind of case, she can get Shiva Nikiyim, even if Zava Gedola is triggered, because she has 7 days without bleeding. So the Gemara looks, so therefore when the Gemara frames this, it says she has the ability to be with her husband for a quarter of the days out of every 28 days. So we'll say, because these days ultimately will fall out differently because of Shiva Nikiyim, we look at it kind of in a panoramic view, and in the panoramic view, she has the ability to be with her husband 1/4 of every 28 days. Shmona Yomim Tameim, Ushmona Yom Tahorim. 8 days she's Tameya. 8 days she's Tahora. Mishameshes Chamisha Asar Yom Mitoch Arbaim Ushmona. So it says she has the ability to be with her husband 15 days out of every 48. To which the Gemara says 15. Hani Arbeisar Havu. It should really be 14. So the Gemara says, Amrav Ada Bar Yitzchak Zos Omeres Yemeini Dasa She'ein Roa Bahen Olan L'Sviras Zivasa. So I'll say from this last case, the Gemara says something very interesting. Very interesting, which is you see from here that ultimately, again, Yemei Nidos, that a woman doesn't see any dam, ultimately, again, could count towards her ziva. So I'll say, this is actually very interesting. In other words, what happens if a woman's Niddah period overlaps with her zivos? And let's say she's observing Shiva Nikiyim, right? But ultimately, again, or I should say differently, what happens if she has Yemei Nidos, where she's not having any kind of discharge? Can those Yemei Nidos ultimately count towards her Zivos days? You're going to see this case framed in just a moment. Di Bailahu. The Gemara says we actually asked this question. Amud Beis. Yemei Leida. The Gemara asks in a different way, and it's actually quite fascinating. Yemei Leida. She'ina roa bahen maushiyala lesviras zivasa. So we'll say this is actually incredible. What happens if she gives birth? But the case over here now, Rashi points out to her, Yemele Dasa, Kigon Yalda Bizov, Paska Miyad. So I'll say, woman gives birth, Yoledes Bizov. Remember again, how can you be a Yoledes Bizov? If Halacha Lamaisa, she gives birth during her Yemei Zivus, and again, potentially she might have gone ahead and even bled for 3 days during that time. She's a Zava Gidol. We've seen this case before many times. She's Yoledes Bizov. Now, in this case over here, she's giving birth, she's in a state of Zivus, but now again, she's no longer bleeding. She's no longer bleeding. So I say, so what's happening? She is in Yemei Leida. She's in the technically in Yemei Leida. Says more specifically, Yemei Tuma. Can the Yemei Leida count towards her Zivus or not? So Yemei Leida, Shinra Bahen, if she has Yemei Leida where she is not bleeding, right? Maush Yalu L'Sviras Zivasa. Do they have the ability to count towards the counting of her Zivus? Good Shaila. So we'll say, so on one hand, what do we say? On one hand, they're clean days. They're clean days. On the other hand, what's the issue? Those days have a different identity. What's the identity of those days? They're Yemei Leida. They're not Yemei Ziva. So does the fact that they're clean allow them to count towards Yemei Ziva? Or does the fact ultimately, again, that they have a different identity as Yemei Leida preclude that possibility? Amar Rav Kana, so Rav Kana said, Tashma. Rasa Shnayim Ulishlishi Epila. If a woman saw dam for 2 days, and on the 3rd day she miscarried. Ve'ini yodas mahipila. And about say ultimately again she does not know what she miscarried. In other words, she doesn't know did she miscarry a boy or a girl. Hare zu safek ziva, safek leda. So we'll say in this case over here, she's a Safek Ziva, Safek Leida. Rashi says, look at Rashi, Safek Leida, Safek Ziva. Shema Leida, Shema Ziva, Shema Lozu, Velozu. So we'll say, so again, was this a birth? Was this Zivos? Or perhaps it was something else? Right? Shema Lozu, Velozu. Ve'im Vlatu, Velorasa Bepsichas HaKever, Harehu Leida Veloziva. V'im eino vlad v'rasa dam bepsichas hakever harezu zava ve'in kan leida v'im vlatu v'rasa dam beleidasa harezu yoledes bezov. So we'll say, so all these different possibilities. Is it leida? Is it zava? Is it yoledes bezov? V'im niftach kever below dam ve'eino vlad. And it will say, if ultimately again there was a psichas pia kever, opening of the uterus, and there was no dam, and there was no vlad, ein kan lozu v'lozu. Hilchach safeku, Rashi says. V'notil aleh chomer leidul etamish shvuayim afilu lo tira. So say on one hand, in this case over here, we mamish don't know what happened. All we know is that she bled for 2 days and then miscarried something. But what did she miscarry? Was it a vlad? Was it dam? Was it psichas pia? Well, we don't know what happened. So we'll say in a case like this, what do you have to do? Harezu safek ziva safek leida. So Rashi, let me just finish that Rashi. Rashi is what we do over here is as follows. V'natil aleh chomer leida. So we'll say on one hand, we put upon her the chomers of leida, which is what? L'tamei shvuayim afilu lo tira. We'll make her tummy like she gave birth to a girl for 2 weeks, even though she didn't see any blood. The chomer ziva, we'll also give her the chomers of ziva. She calls man shlo tifsak zayin akiyim lo titar. We'll also give her the chomers of zava gidola, which means that what? She requires shivin akiyim. Umevia karban, we'll also make her bring a karban, right? Ve'eno ne'achal, but she can't eat, the carbon cannot be consumed. Sheme'in kan lo leida v'lo ziva. Because also maybe the possibility that what? It's neither leida nor zav. So we'll say, so essentially, we give her tumas leida of 2 weeks like a girl. Right, we go ahead and we require her to have shiva nikiyim like a zava. We make her go ahead and bring a karban, but the karban cannot be consumed. So back to the Gemara. Harezu safek ziva safek leida. Mevia karban ve'eno ne'achal. Therefore, ultimately, again, she brings a karban, but the karban cannot be consumed. V'yemei leidasa she'in roa bahen olin la l'sviras zivasa. I will say, watch this. But the days after the birth, that she does not see any dam, ultimately what? Count towards the shiva nikiyim of her zivus. So we'll say, what does this sound like over here? Sounds like over here that halacha l'maisa, yimei leida, on which she does not see dam, can count towards shiva nikiyim of zivus. Amar Rav Papa said, this is not necessarily a good ride, and I'll tell you why. Shiny Hassam, Kevan di ikalamimar yoledes zacharhu he v'chol hani shiva yisiri dekayavina le salkila l'siras zivasa. So Rabbi says, no. I'll tell you why maybe in this case it works. It could be that under normal circumstances we would say that Allah chalamaisa yimei leida can't count towards shiva nikim of zivos. This case is different. Why? Because let's remember again, how many days of yimei leida are we making her observe in this case? How many days? 14. But maybe she had a boy. In which case, how many days of Leida would there normally be? 7. So the fact that you're making her keep an additional 7, that's why you could count towards Shiva Nikiyim. But under normal circumstances, Yimei Leida can't count towards Yimei Zivus. What are you talking about, Papa? That's not true. Remember again, the reason she has to keep 14 of us is because the strong possibility that there's just as much of a possibility that she had a boy than she had a girl. Elav shmamina olin shmamina. Rather, Rabbi say, what do you see from here? You see einachinami that this is indeed the halacha. Or at least according to the Gemara over here, that Yimei Leida can count towards Yimei Ziva. So Rabbi say, in a case like this, where ultimately again she bled for 2 days, and then ultimately again was mapil on the 3rd day, and we don't know what happened here. Meaning, there's a suffix on every single level, which is, was this a leida? Was this not a leida? Was there dam? Was there not dam? We mamish don't know what happened over here. So therefore, we have no choice but to be machmir for every single situation. Therefore, again, possibility of zavagidola, possibility of yoledes zachar, possibility of yoledes nekeva. Therefore, we're going to give her all of the chumras. 14 days of yemei tumah, as if she gave birth to a girl. Shiva Nikiyim, as if she was a Zava, bring a carbon, but the Rabbi say, now remember, carbon would be for either one, right? Zava Gidola or for Yoledes. But because we don't know what the carbon is being brought for, therefore what is brought, but it is not consumed. But Rabbi say, but what you do see clearly over here is that what? That if after the birth she does not bleed, then even those initial days, which are called quote unquote Yemei Leda, can absolutely count towards her Shiva Nikim of Zivos. Good. So let's say the parak ends off. Tisha Yamim Timim v'Tisha Yamim Torim. Both this is just to kind of finish out the unit of these strange and difficult cycles. If ultimately again she bleeds for 9 days, and for 9 days she's tahora, then what's the halacha? Mishameshes shmona yamim mitoch shmona asar. She'll be permitted to her husband 8 days out of every 18. Asar yamim tmeim v'asar yamim tahorim. If for 10 days she's bleeding, and for 10 days ultimately again she's tahora, so yemei shimusha ki yemei zivasa. So we'll say in this case, interestingly enough, the days she is permitted to her husband will be equal to the number of days of potential zivos. Look at Rashi. Yemei shimushi ki yemei zivasa temei asara temei havu zayin nida v'gimel ziva u'me'asara tahorin zayin l'sfira v'gimel tashmish hari yemei shimush ki yemei ziva. Good. So saying this model, ultimately again, the days that she's permitted to be with her husband will be like the days of zivos, or potential zivos, I should say. So the Gemara says v'chin l'meya v'chin l'alef, and the same would be true ultimately again if the way her cycle worked was 100 days on, 100 days off, 1,000 days on, 1,000 days off. So the Ma'aseh will say it would be the same. So remember again, all the Gemara is doing is satisfying Rabbi Yeshua's desire in the Mishnah to not focus ultimately again on Safek cases, but to focus on Vadai cases. All of these represent Vadai cycles, and ultimately again how they're dealt with. Hadron Alach Bas Simen. We'll say Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Dam, Hanida. So we'll say again, Dam Niddah, Ubasar Ames, flesh from a corpse, Mitamin Lachin, Mitamin Yeveshin. We'll say convey Tumah, whether they are moist or whether they are dry. So we'll say even if you have dried Dam Niddah, or you have a dried up piece of flesh, Halacha L'maaseh they convey Tumah both in their we'll call it moist form and dry form. On the flip side, avala zov, both say zov means the emission from a zav, nia means phlegm, rok is saliva, sheretz is a rodent, nevela, carcass of an animal, shichvas zera, semen, metamin lochin, ve'in metamin yeveshin. Both say all of these items only convey tuma when they are wet, but not when they are dry, or I should say when they're moist, but not when they're dry. However, we saw this before. Rabbi say if these items dried up, and you could, I guess, for lack of better term, reconstitute them, right? You could reinfuse the moisture into it. Then ultimately, again, they regain their status. Then mitamin lachin umitamin yeveshin. Ultimately, again, they will become tameh in their moist state as well as in the Yerusha. So again, we're going to see in the Gemara ultimately again what this exactly means. Meaning, is this saying that halacha l'maisa that if something is reconstituted? I think reconstituted is the right word, right? Reconstituted, remoistened. I'm sorry. Good. You can make it moist again, right? If you can, right? So we'll say, make Sheikh Vazera moist again, right? So we'll say, so you can make it, you can infuse, I don't think reconstitute is probably the whatever, you understand what I mean, right? So, I'm sorry? Hydrate it. Good. So we'll say, if you can rehydrate it, so we'll see what this exactly means. Does this mean that it only conveys tumah once you rehydrate it, or that no, anything that can be rehydrated, right, even if it's in its dry form, will still convey tumah? We'll see it in the Gemara. But we'll say, but again, just to keep in mind what we have over here. So far, step number one is there are certain items that convey tumah, whether they are dry or moist. Really, only two items in that category: Dam Niddah, Basar Hames. Everything else only conveys tumah, ultimately, again, if it's moist, but not if it's dry. However, if the dry item can be rehydrated and made moist again, then what? Then halacha l'maisa, it will convey tumah. So the Gemara says, v'kama hi shriyasan. So I'll say, by the way, what's the test for that? You know, how long, what does it mean that something can be rehydrated? To which the Gemara says, number one, Bapostrin. First of all, talking about putting something in lukewarm water, meis leis. So if you would put it back into lukewarm water for 24 hours and it would become rehydrated, then what? Then halach alamaisa, that's considered to be moist and therefore conveys tumah. Rabbi Yossi says, no, basar ameis v'niyachal lahashos v'lachzor l'kamoshitar. Rabbi Yossi comes along in the seif of the Mishnah, and Rabbi Yossi says that halach alamaisa, basar hameis, is just like the other stuff in the other category, meaning shechva zera, zov, rok, namely that if it's dry, it does not convey tumah. If it can be reconstituted or rehydrated, then halacha l'maaseh can convey tumah. So I'll say Rabbi Yossi. So remember, Tanakama holds that dam niddah and basar ameis convey tumah, both lach and yavesh. Rabbi Yossi is saying, I agree with you legabe dam niddah, but disagree with you legabe basar hameis. Good. Says the Gemara. So I'll say, from where do we know this? From where do we know what? Rashi says, the dam niddah metame mago umaso. So let's remember again, what the Mishnah introduced us to is the idea that dam niddah, the actual niddah blood, the actual dam from a woman who was a niddah, ultimately again goes ahead and conveys tumah through maga and masa. So if you touch dam niddah, if you carry dam niddah, you become tamei. See, where do we know this from? Amr Chizkiah says, I'll tell you from where. Da Amr Kra v'hadava b'nidasa. So we'll say, so remember again, this lashon dava b'nidasa, little dava means the flow from the niddah. So the Gemara says, madva kimosa. Her flow is just like her. Mahi mitama, just like the niddah herself, the woman herself conveys tumah. Af madva mitama, so to her flow also conveys tumah. So just like she as a person, right, if she comes in contact with certain things, conveys tumas niddah, so to her dam also conveys tumas niddah. Ashkechan lach. So we'll say, I understand that's true when the blood is wet, right? Because remember again, madvar, we'll say, it doesn't just mean blood. What does it mean? Flow. So Pashas flow refers to what type of blood? Right? Liquid blood, right? So I know that when it's liquid, it could convey tumah. Yavesh minolan. But the Mishnah said even when the dam niddah is dried, it can still convey tumah. Where do I know that from? Rabbi Yitzchak Kamakra Yihiyeh. So we'll say, so the passage says, V'isha kisiyeh zava dam yihiyeh zava bivsara. So we'll say, so when it's talking about the flow, it says yihiyeh. Yihiyeh, we dash means what? Bahavyaso yehei. And we'll say, now yihiyeh means it retains its status, even if what? Even if its form changes. So even if it's no longer liquid and now it's dry dam, it still retains its identity as dam niddah and therefore has the ability to convey tumah even in the dry form. Incredible. So the Gemara says, "Ve'ema hani mili balach v'naase yavish." So maybe I'll say that applies to what? Dam niddah that was liquid and then dried. That's the type of dam niddah that conveys tumah, even in a yavesh state. However, yavesh mi'ikara minalan. But say, how do I know that even if the dam was dry from the beginning, then ultimately again it conveys tumah like the niddah? So that's what you see yourself yavesh from the beginning. What is that talking about? The su. I'll tell you where. Hadisnan, because we learned this before. Hama peles kimin klipa, kimin afar, kimin sara, kimin yavchushin adumim. Let's remember this case. A woman expels something that looks like a klipa, looks like a shell, right? Looks like dirt, looks like a hair, looks like yavchushin adumim, right? Literally, again, red clumps. So I'll say, so this is all considered to be, the concern over here is that this is blood, right? This is congealed, this is hardened blood. So what's the halacha? Tatil amayim, you put these things into water. Im namochu, if they dissolve, tamei. Ultimately, again, then that's indicative that what? That indeed it is dam. So we'll say, so minalan. So we'll say, so now remember again, I could understand if you told me that if the dam was first liquid and then it dried, that it still conveys tumah, right? Yihiyah, because we'll say, because why? What is that based on? Once it was in the liquid state and conveyed tumah, I understand that it essentially retains that state going forward. But what if the dam was yavesh from the beginning? Like in these cases over here, where when it's coming out of the body, it's already in a solid state. How do I know that even in that case, the dam conveys tumah? Minalan, yihiyah ribuyahu. They both say same idea. Yihiyah comes to include all cases of dam. They're both saying all cases of dam. So whether again we're talking about liquid dam, whether we're talking about liquid that became solid, or that it was solid from the time that it was expelled from the body, it's all called dam niddah. And halacha l'maisa, based on v'hadava b'nidasa, tells us that the dam of the niddah is just like the niddah herself. Just like she conveys tumah, so to her dam, the blood will also convey tumah. So the Gemara says, okay, imahi osa mishkav u'moshav l'tami adum l'tami begadim. Af dama nami osa mishkav u'moshav l'tami adum l'tami begadim. So listen to this. Halacha l'maisa. A niddah, right? If a niddah, let's say, sits on something or rests her weight on something, mishkav or moshav, she sits on the right, we'll say, what's the halacha? That item becomes an avhatuma, to the point that that item could then convey tumah to another person. So as I say, now you're going to tell me that a niddah's blood is just like the niddah. So therefore I would say, just like she could create mishkav u'moshav, which means if she sits on something, she makes that item into an avatuma. That item can then convey tumah to another person. So maybe her blood should do the same thing. Therefore, aftama, nami osa mishkav u'moshav, time adon time begadim. Her blood, Rabbi say, so if her blood, quote unquote, rests on something, sits on something, it should also make that object into an avatuma, which would then be capable of conveying tumah to another person. To which Gemara says, no, that far we won't go. Atu dama bar mishkav u'moshavu. But remember again, what's the tumah of mishkav u'moshav? Mishkav u'moshav means that what? Something you sit on, or something you rest your weight on. So we'll say, b'pashtos, that refers to who? To a person, right? Dam itself shouldn't really be capable of creating tumas mishkav u'moshav, because dam doesn't sit on something. Dam doesn't rest on something. Bepashtos, this refers to a human being. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, osa mishkav u'moshav, she mishkav u'metame adon. No, I'm sorry. So the Gemara says, u'letamech. Well, using that logic, I'll ask you the following question. U'letamech. Even hamenugas. So we'll say even hamenugas is an interesting case. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, actually, well, it's a little bit later, but you see the Rashi says, so we'll say hamenugas means a stone in a home that is afflicted with saras. Right? It says a stone in a home that is afflicted with saras. So what's hamenugas? What happens with hamenugas? Uletamech. Even hamenugas bas mishkav u'moshavi. They both say, so what the Gemara is saying is like this. We are going to treat the dam of a niddah just like the niddah herself. So the Gemara, so if that's the case, then I want to say, just like a niddah can make something tameh, tumas mishkav u'moshav. If she sits on something or rests her weight on something, she makes that item into what? Into what? Into an avatuma that has the ability to convey tumah to another person. So let her dam do the same thing. If her dam sits on something, it should also make it an avatuma that should convey tumah to a person. To which the Gemara says, no, come on. Dam, we will say, it doesn't make sense that dam should be shayich to tumas mishkav u'moshav, right? The dam doesn't sit on something. That's a person who does that. So the Gemara says, really, is that true? That just because something is an inanimate object, it doesn't create tumas mishkav u'moshav? What about the following case? U'tamich even aminugas. We'll say, what about a stone from a home that has saras? Bas mishkav u'moshav hi. Ditzarech kra limiute. So we'll say a stone is also not a bar mishkav u'moshav. Yet, what? We need a pasuk to exclude it. Desanya. Yachol te even minugas ose mishkav u'moshav l'tamei adam l'tamei begadim. I might have thought that the stone, an even minugas, stone with saras, should ultimately create tumas mishkav u'moshav. In other words, we'll say that if that stone rests on something, it should make that item into an avatuma, which in turn would then be able to be matame a person. And I'll make a kavachomer v'dinu mazav she'en matame bebia ose mishkav u'moshav. We'll say a zav who is now a type of bia. And we'll say bia over here doesn't mean religions. Bia means that ultimately, again, if you enter into a home with a zav, right? If I enter into the home with a zav, I do not contract tumah from the zav by entering under the same roof with him. Yet what? A zav has the ability to make something into a avatuma through mishkav u'moshav, and in turn that item which the zav makes something through mishkav u'moshav can make another person tameh, both his person and his begadim. Even Aminugas, Shemetame Bebia. I will say Even Minugas. What's the halacha when you come up with Even Minugas? If you enter into a home, right, and one of the stones of the home ultimately asas, I will say what happens? You contract Tumah. You contract Tumah just by being underneath the same roof with an Even Aminugas. Rashi says over here, now it's that Rashi Even Minugas, Metame Bebia, Adam Hanichnas Ima Lebayis. But say if you're under the same roof, ultimately you're going to Even Minugas, you contract Tumah. Eino din shemetame mishkav u'moshav. Therefore, Rabbi says, should it not be clear? So Rabbi say, you hear the Kavach Omer? Azav, who if you go under the same roof as Azav, you don't contract Tumah. Yet Azav, if he sits on something, makes that item into an Av. That Av then has the ability to convey Tumah to another person, both to be metame that person's body as well as his clothing. So Even Minugas, which has a heightened form of Tumah, that if I'm even under the same roof with the Even Minugas, I become Tameh. Surely if you put the Even Minugas on top of something, that should be metame the item Mishkav Moshav, making that item into an Av. If I then go touch that item, then what? I should become Tameh, both my person and my clothing. Talmud Lomar Hazav. Therefore, when the pasuk speaks about again the ability to create Tumas Mishkav Moshav, what does it say? Hazav for the Even Aminugas. But say the drasha is it's only Hazav who has the ability to convey Tumah, not the Even Aminugas. But Rabbi say, what do you see from here? You see from here that Allah Chalamais, you need a pasuk, you need a drasha to exclude Even Aminugas from creating Tumas Mishkav Moshav. Even though what? Even Aminugas is an inanimate object. Yet you still need a pasuk to exclude it. Taima d'miyatekra. Ha-lav hachi mitame. So I'll say ultimately without the pasuk, Even Minugas would convey to us mishkav u'moshav. So the Gemara says, Umina, lav amret hazav lo Even Minugas, hachi ka'amar, hachi nami amar kra, asher hi yosheves alav, hi velo dama. So as I said, we make a drush over here by Even Minugas that is dafka the zav. Ultimately again that conveys tumah. Tumas Mishkav Moshav, but not to Even Minugas. Rabbi says so too by Niddah. The pasuk says he, right? Asher he Yoshev es Allah. It is only the Niddah herself who can create what? Tumas Mishkav Moshav, but her blood cannot create Tumas Mishkav Moshav. So Rabbi says we'll stop over for today. But as much as Halacha Lamaisa was saying that the dam of a Niddah is going to be just like the Niddah. Again, when it comes to Tumas Mishkav Moshav, only she could create that Tumah. Her dam cannot. We're going to not finish. We're going to pick up all this message tomorrow. We'll say Mazel Tov to Greg Levitan on the occasion of the bris of his grandson this morning. B'shat tov mitzlachas in shul today. Mazel Tov.